Hello, and welcome to a very special episode of The Wise Guys. I'm Matt Louie.
And I'm Lenny, and we are two guys trying to. I actually forgot the tagline already. Actually, we should talk about that because we're not doing one proverb at a time anymore.
Yeah, that's how we started, but these days I feel like it's more like one topic at a time.
So what should it be?
Okay, so it'd be two ordinary guys who are trying to become wise, one topic at a time.
I guess.
But we still need to incorporate proverbs somehow.
Well, two ordinary guys trying to get wiser through proverbs, one topic at a time.
Okay, maybe we can call that a work in progress. But hey, Lenny, what's different about this episode? I feel like for people that are just listening to this podcast, they may not notice that something has really changed.
Well, we've introduced ourselves to yet another platform. So a couple months ago, we got on Spotify, and today you might be listening on YouTube and watching us on YouTube with your eyes. And so we're really excited to kind of announce this new platform as a way of getting our content out there, kind of allowing you to see us face to face, seeing the faces behind the voice that you might be hearing on Spotify, and just giving you another way for you to just kind of listen and follow us on our journey on how to get wiser.
Yeah, that's right. And so we've gone from Apple Podcasts to Spotify, and now we're finally on YouTube. And actually, Lenny, you were the one that sort of came up with this idea because from what I understand, you are quite the YouTube videographer yourself.
Oh man, no. I mean, I did try a little bit of YouTube while I was in between jobs. I just wanted to see if I could post kind of content on a consistent basis. And I found that if I just get my content on YouTube, like people will just start discovering us and my content. And so that's what I kind of hope that we can do on this new platform, where when you're finishing watching other videos, there's, the screen at the end suggested similar videos and things like that. That way, like there's some organic discovery that's going on. The podcast industry, especially on Spotify, is just so saturated. It's difficult to discover people. And we hope that like by seeing our faces that you might click on us and share us. So hopefully this is good.
So Lenny, what can they expect when they click on this podcast? Is it just going to be our faces talking to each other? What are we going to ultimately do with this?
Well, basically, I mean, I guess Matt and I both have kind of some different kind of perspectives on what we'd like to take the podcast forward to. I know for me, I'm just trying to grow in wisdom through Proverbs, I guess now one topic at a time. We've been doing that for the past many months now. And honestly, I think it's been a blast. We've talked about a lot of polarizing topics, felt a little bit of fire under our seats. Talked about like Black Lives Matter, how to vote in politics, and those topics. But the main thing is through the lens of Proverbs, I, as an individual, and I think Matt as well, want to grow to be wiser so that we can be as successful and as happy in this life as can be.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with you there. And I think just for this video format, for the beginning, we're just going to be talking at the camera and looking at you, and there's not going to be any fancy graphics or anything like that. So you can go ahead and put this on in the background. And like Lenny said, maybe for you, it's just another way to listen to the podcast, but on YouTube instead of Spotify or Apple Podcasts. And we're just seeing if it'll help us to reach a broader audience. And maybe in the future, I think we both always want to be improving and growing our skills and what we do. So if there is enough of an audience and there's enough engagement, maybe we'll expand the channel and we'll put different things on it, add maybe some content, some other stuff than just our faces talking. But yeah, it's just exciting to be on this new medium and to be able to engage with you guys and gals out there and just talk about these topics. And that brings us to our discussion today, which is going to be pretty brief. We thought that since we're doing this new format, it's a good time to step back and take a retrospective on, I just looked this up, Lenny, it's been a little more than 3 years that we've been publishing the Wise Guys podcast.
Yeah.
We started
Wow.
in 2019, and there's been about 30 episodes so far. And like you said, it's just run the gamut of a lot of different topics. We started off going one proverb at a time, and that was kind of our tagline. And our plan was to go through the entire book of Proverbs, literally one proverb at a time. And then we, at some point, switched over to topics. Do you remember how we decided to do that and why?
Yeah, if you remember, if you were with us since the beginning, we started in Proverbs 10, where we started going through each proverb at a time. And I think over time we realized that a lot of the proverbs have a lot of similarities and they can be grouped together under like a topic because it has a lot of repetitive kind of ideologies, not in a bad way, but you can group them together and you can kind of talk about them. And so we kind of, ran with that idea. And because there were a lot of ongoing like current events that were very polarizing, or people just wanted to hear what we had to say about them, or just a different way to think about them and be challenged by them, we just decided to do that. And here we are today.
Yeah. And I also remember that a big part of what we wanted to do from the beginning was to engage with our listeners. And granted, there weren't many in the beginning, and we've grown that exponentially from 0 to I think 5 people that listen to us now, and so now we just love hearing from people and talking and engaging with their questions. And if there's a current event or topic out there that's going on, we want to be able to learn ourselves and grow in wisdom and know how to engage with that topic and communicate about it with the society that we're in. And I think, Lenny, I just remember one of the original thoughts that I had like more than 3 years ago when we were talking about doing this is that we used to meet up like every week or every other week.
Mm-hmm.
And I just remember thinking that our conversations I always learned so much from them and they were so fun. And we just had the idea, what if we just hit the record button? And I think hopefully we've been able to retain a lot of that feeling of just having a conversation and being authentic and like iron sharpening iron, right? Learning from each other and encouraging each other. And we just hope to bring that to a broader community.
Yeah, honestly, this podcast is something I'm really passionate about. And over the years, our consistency has just been the cornerstone of like this podcast. No matter what, we've always recorded one episode, every few weeks. And even though the timing in between each episode has been variable, we've always met and we've always recorded eventually. And so I'm just so happy that like we're able to just share this new type of content on YouTube as a new platform. And so like Matt kind of alluded to, like we started taking some questions from our listeners. And so if you have a question or would like us to talk about something that is on your mind, now we have the ability to comment below. Not only can you like and subscribe at the same time, but you can comment below and write your questions or your topic idea. That way we can kind of explore it and kind of, discuss it. And hopefully your topic will be on one of our future episodes.
Yeah, and I'll just say this right now. If you are one of our 5 listeners and you post a comment on our YouTube channel, there's a pretty good chance that we'll look at it and may feature it because
100%.
you're only competing with 4 other people at this point. But yeah, I think this would be really cool because someday maybe there'll be more comments and people can vote on them, and it can be one of those things where the community votes on what they want to hear us talk about.
And actually, might I add, some of the best content and podcasts that I've recorded, at least in my opinion, were from questions and topics from you guys. So you can remain anonymous. You can just send us a message. We're also on Twitter and on Instagram, but on YouTube as well. And so just comment, okay?
Yeah, I'm so excited. Lenny, what have been some of your favorite topics that you mentioned were generated by a listener question?
Yeah, I gotta say, like, the ones that were the most controversial, the ones that I felt nervous to record, the ones that I felt I had to do a lot of research and think through, formulate a wise opinion about, and in no way are is my opinion like truth, right? It's just what I, think about or kind of, learn from. And so I think my favorite one's maybe like Asian hate.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. How about you?
Yeah, I think, Lenny, that's a great point you brought up there that, we're not positioning ourselves as these wise guys that are going to teach you the correct way to view things, right? Like it's the wise guys is sort of a joke, and we make fun of ourselves that we're just two ordinary guys that are trying to become wise. But I think hopefully the content of our conversation is an example of how, like two ordinary guys try to think of things in a wise manner, try to search the Proverbs, search the Bible to have wise perspectives on challenging topics. And some of the more challenging topics that have happened in our world and in people's lives have been some of the better things that we've struggled through, and we don't have all the answers. But hopefully we gave an example, and we'll continue to give an example of how to think about these things and see what does the Bible say and what does it not say about these topics and what we can learn from that. I thought one of the more challenging and memorable ones for me included the one about singleness, just because that hit home for me so much in my experience, and it made me so grateful that I have the opportunity to relate with people and talk to people about my own experience that may struggle with feelings around that. And then the other one, kind of on the other end of the spectrum, on the contentious wife, given that that's such a difficult topic. And like you said, it really makes you pause and consider, okay, how do I engage with this topic, given that it's so controversial and it's such a hotbed. But it seems like the Proverbs address it a lot. Proverbs are quiet on a lot of topics, but it seems to have a lot of verses on, the type of woman that a young man should avoid. So how do we address that? And I'm looking forward to a lot more, not necessarily easy, but challenging dialogues as we think about things.
Yeah, this is the thing I love about our conversations. Like, I can come in thinking one thing, like, this is what I'm going to say. This is what, I bring to the table. And I can leave the conversation or leave the episode thinking something completely different. Sometimes it's the polar opposite of what I came in thinking. Other times it's a more nuanced and more developed kind of idea. And that's kind of what I hope that you will listen to, you will experience when you listen to our podcast, that maybe, you have some ideas or opinions about Asian hate or contentious wife or all these topics. But at least you'll leave that conversation, leave that episode feeling like, maybe I've thought about some things. Matt and Lenny maybe brought up some points that maybe you should just kind of munch on, think on, and maybe follow up with us and let us know what you think.
Yeah. Lenny, I feel like you actually have become wise. Like, that is...
No.
That's a really wise perspective because, we know from Proverbs that, it's a wise man that listens to correction, right? And fools don't want to be instructed. They hate discipline. And it's a wise man that is open-minded, no matter how much they think they know, that there might be a different perspective. So, I think about the last 3 years and, I feel like I've definitely grown. And, it is true that the more, I think the wisdom you gain, you realize more and more how much you don't know and how much you're in need of wisdom. And I love that, one of the dear promises in the Bible is that God, if anyone lacks wisdom, let him ask of God and he will give generously. And I feel like God has answered that prayer again and again, and I've grown, but there's an unlimited amount of wisdom and knowledge. And of course, we strive to be like Christ, who is the ultimate example of a man who lived with the utmost wisdom before God and before men. And so in that high standard, we all fall short, and there's always room for growth. And so it's been 3 years. It's gone by really fast, and I'm just so excited to continue to grow and to walk this path with you.
Yeah, as we wrap things up, I just wanted to say thank you to our supporters and our listeners, our family. our friends, our church friends. Thank you so much for supporting us and listening to us. Thank you for your comments and suggestions. We appreciate the love that you've given to us, the advice, the encouragement, the rebuke at times, and it's all served to make us the men that we are today. And so we couldn't have done it without you, and I just wanted to just say thank you for doing so. Praise be to God.
Yeah, and hopefully, this is our first video, but we'll look back on this many years from now and kind of laugh at ourselves and how we, how we kick things off with this, and you can laugh with us. So thank you so much for coming along for the ride. Like Lenny said, thank you for all your support, and we will see you guys next time.
Bye.